some of you know me. I was there. I was with the 1st Marine Division when they went into Baghdad and we toppled the dictator Saddam Hussein. We tore that statue down. Yeah, okay, that's a good one. I like that. But I'm going to tell you about a better one. There was a flag that went over his head right before we pulled it down, and the media called it a faux pas, and a lot of people, thought whatever about it. But I'm going to tell you the story behind that flag, and this is why it's so special to me. My platoon commander was a fellow named Lieutenant McLaughlin, Lieutenant Mack. Nothing particularly special about him. He was a Marine Corps lieutenant, one each, from New Hampshire. When he joined the Marine Corps, he was assigned as a tank officer. He went to tank training school, and when he was in school, he got hurt. Broke his leg. No big deal, nothing life-threatening, but he couldn't go out to the fleet like that. So they sent him to work at the Pentagon, but he's just a second lieutenant, so he doesn't know anything. So he just fetches coffee for the generals and rehabilitates his leg. He gets his leg better and better, and he finally gets to where he can finally start running on this leg. And he goes out running so he can get this leg rehabilitated, get out to the Fleet Marine Force and do those things he joined to do. That day he went out running was September 11, 2001. Plane came in, struck the Pentagon. Young Lieutenant Mack ran back, assisted in the rescue and relief of his fellow Americans, and then the next day did what everybody else did, went back to training for this war. Got his leg better, got ready to go out to the fleet. When he got ready to leave the Pentagon, they took that American flag from the Marine Corps detachment that had been hit on September 11th. They folded it up and they gave it to young Lieutenant Mack, and they said, you get to Baghdad, you find somewhere nice to put that. And that's the flag that went over Saddam's head right before we pulled that statue down. And I think Lieutenant Mack accomplished his mission in the most meritorious manner. But that's what it's about. And Rick talked about it a little bit in his speech there. Talked about all these divisions, all these lines that are being drawn in our society. We are one nation under God. That tank platoon I took to Baghdad, that tank platoon has 16 men. Four of them were foreign nationals. I had one man from Vietnam, one man from Poland, one man from the Philippines, and one man from Mexico. This was before the DREAM Act, so I think we've been doing this for a long time despite the president's misinterpretation of that thing. But these four individuals earned their American citizenship out defending it, out serving it. One nation comprised of many peoples from all over the world, together serving honorably, legally, gaining their citizenship. Over there, we were fighting the real war on women over there in the Middle East. Now, what does that have to do with a guy running for Congress? Because I am running for Congress in California's 53rd Congressional District. Now, what does it have to do with that? And I'll tell you about a man I've seen over there, and there's no better inspiration for standing up for liberty than this man. I was on the street in Fallujah in 2004, right before the big battles happened. I met a man down on the street, just an average-looking Iraqi man. He had a bodyguard with him, and when I spoke to him, he told me he was the mayor of Fallujah, and he wanted to speak to my battalion commander. And so I called him. My battalion commander said he's on the way. And when he was en route, this mayor was very nervous. He's just walking around, and he says, well, how long is he going to take? Because if he takes much longer, somebody's going to kill me out here. And I thought, what courage, what faith, what belief in liberty, democracy, in America. This guy wasn't even an American, and he believed that our nation was going to stand beside him, that we had such a cherishing of liberty and prosperity that we were willing to take it halfway around the world. And I saw that man, and he would end up having his meeting with my battalion commander. 4 American contractors would be murdered, their bodies would be desecrated in the streets of Fallujah shortly thereafter. We would fight a horrible battle. I'm sure this man was killed in the battle, standing up. I'm sure he was fighting for liberty and prosperity he was never going to know. Those 4 foreign nationals fighting by my side, they were fighting for liberty and prosperity for people they were never even going to know. All stand because of a belief, because of an ideal. There we stood shoulder to shoulder. I would end up being wounded in that battle. When I was wounded, I was commanding a tank. A tank's a 4-man tank crew. When I was wounded, we weren't 1 black, 1 white, and 2 Hispanics, such as maybe politicians might label us demographically. We were 1 tank crew. And when I was laying there bleeding to death, those 2 other men, despite their own wounds, stood up there, manned machine guns, charged into fire in the middle of flames, wounded to save my life. There was 1 nation, 1 color, 1 America. And so what I see now, and now that I'm in politics and I'm much more involved, yeah, I'll clap for that, what the heck. And so the thing that saddens me here at home, because I watch that over there where people are fighting and dying for liberty, and they're still doing it to this day. despite the fact that the easiest thing to do politically is just kind of ignore it. There are men and women deploying every day to that part of the world, and they are fighting for a liberty that they'll never know. Seeing it over there, what the enemy does, what the opponents of liberty do, is they divide people. They divide them, and they get those groups to fight amongst each other. So what I say to you, my fellow Americans, don't fall for that here. It saddens me to see it here. Remember, this government is of the people, by the people, for the people. And when those politicians seek to divide us as people, they need to go away. I hope we remember that this year. The Constitution makes one reference when it talks about the people of this nation. It doesn't divide us ethically, racially, gender, religiously. It doesn't divide us into anything. It makes one reference. Anywhere in the Constitution that speaks of the people, it speaks of them only one way: the people. I'm Nick Popaditch. I'm running for Congress. I'm a Republican. I believe in balanced budget. I think it's all the things you like. Balanced budget, limited government. I believe in more personal freedom, smaller government. I believe in fiscal responsibility. I believe in one set of civil rights. I believe in a strong national defense. And I'll tell you what, speaking of communists and terrorists, I know they only understand one thing. They understand force. So right now thinking we're going to cut our military by 10% and that is going to make us safer is the most naive thing I've ever heard. To put it simply, a friend of mine once said, you don't pet a rattlesnake. I can't put it any more simple than that. So what I would say, we can all sit around and critique it. It's time to do something about it. I'm running for Congress. I can use your help. I've got a booth back there. I can use your effort, your labor. If you got a couple dollars, $2 buys me 20 trifolds. $5 buys me 2 yard signs. $30 gets me 30 seconds on TV. I could use your help. Let's not just sit around and complain. Let's do something about it. I'm Nick Popaditch. I'm running for Congress. I'm honored to be in front of you today. God bless America.